And here comes Jan Perry right now. So I'm going to call on the quarterback of the great 9th District, Jan Perry. Jan, what I was going to do, you know, I line up all my district these days.
Yeah. Don't worry. Get done. Okay. This is Thursday, December the 8th. This is room 1010. It's about 9 in the morning. This is the ad hoc committee on the downtown stadium and convention center renovation, and I'm here with Mr. Labange. Why don't we have those who are going to report come to the table? And I know, Mr. Labange, you've got a couple of time issues you're dealing with. Do you have any questions you want to ask up front, or you want to hear?
No,
okay.
Just to hear it, and then maybe at some point ask a few questions.
Okay.
Thank you.
Come on up. Okay. Please proceed.
Good morning, Madam Chair, honorable committee members. My name is Ted Tanner. I'm Executive Vice President with AEG, and I oversee our real estate development activities globally. To my left is Charlie Thornton with the Icon Venue Group. They are our project and program managers for the development of the LA Convention Center modernization and Farmers Field project. And to my right is Jonathan Emmett from the Gensler firm that is the architect for Farmers Field. And as I understand it today is really to give you an update on the design of the Farmers Field or event center at the convention center. As you may know, we've been working for about a little over a year, to put together a comprehensive EIR, an environmental impact assessment for this project. And as a result of that, we have been moving really in tandem with two projects. One is the design of the new hall that replaces the LA Convention Center's West Hall, the existing West Hall. And that really has taken priority because that would be the first development activity that we would undertake. So as a result, we have focused most of our team's efforts on the design, the interface with not only the LA Convention Center, but also Bureau of Engineering on the design of that building that would replace the West Hall. So that has taken precedent, and what we're going to present to you today is still a very conceptual schematic design for Farmers Field. I'm stalling a little bit as we hope to get a PowerPoint presentation set up here in moments. But basically, what we have and what we're going to present to you today is something that we unveiled a few weeks ago, which we think is a real breakthrough for this project. And it involves a deployable roof system. We believe with our benign climate, with the fact that this is going to be a spectator facility for a significant number of outdoor sporting events, hopefully one, possibly two NFL teams, that we would, for the most part, have this building operating as an open-air stadium. As you know, it has a capacity of 72,000, expandable to 76,250 seats for...
Joe, you mind if I ask some questions, just only because, Ted,
Sure.
Prior to this meeting being scheduled, I had community events that I had to go to. But on the opening stadium, is it going to be a hole like Old Texas Stadium was? Okay, thank you.
No,
I'm a bad boy. Personal foul. Personal foul. I'm sorry. I apologize. 15 yards. Okay. Is it going to be wide so that people could get sun?
Yes.
Or is it just going to be a little hole?
No. The whole idea is to really take advantage of our weather, also to take advantage of what we think will be some spectacular views inside and out of the event center. So, and that's part of what you'll hear more about is we're able to achieve a much larger opening in the stadium as a result of this new roof system that we're talking
Will
about.
it be real grass, or will it be Arizona rollout on a rail?
Most likely, again, because we expect this facility to also handle indoor events where grass will have a real challenge growing, that we're going to go with an artificial surface.
And is that NFL legal?
Yes,
Okay.
probably more than half of the
Let me ask
stadiums.
you another thing, too. There's a guy named Charlie somebody who's on NFL Today, and he was sitting there the other day talking, and saying that, and what's the LA situation, Charlie? And so Charlie says, well, and they look at the two teams to come here. Can the Farmers Field handle an AFC and an NFC team?
We believe, and we will be entitling the project for 2 teams.
Very good, thank you. Proceed.
And your projector's here, so.
Great. Oh, good timing. Thanks to the planning staff. We appreciate that. So what we're going to present to you today, and I'll ask Charlie Thornton to just give you a little bit of a preview, is what we think is a truly groundbreaking idea for a flexible, deployable roof system, one that will be very light and airy, and we think that's an important feature, that this roof not feel like it's very heavy, very dense, and not the kind of fan experience that we think Southern California has grown to enjoy. So with that, I'll turn it over to Charlie Thornton.
Yeah, one of the true benefits that we have being in this climate is really just the impacts of no snow load, limited wind loads. So the ability to create this building in a very cost-effective manner is truly the goal. And so what we're seeing now is a number of different technologies that have been deployed at other facilities around the world, and really trying to take all of those different technologies and come up with the best solution for this building. And so as we get into the details, that's an ongoing study that we're in the midst of right now. So the exact materials, parameters for how the system will be deployed are still under development. And again, we'll be looking at all of the different facets, from cost to manpower requirements to, all of those different facets to come to the best decision possible. And so that is ongoing, and we hope to continue to move that forward in a very quick manner. So.
Yeah, let me also underscore that this is really being designed as an event center and as an adjunct and expansion opportunity for the LA Convention Center. So many of the spaces, including the field level, the suites, the party suites, the clubs, the restaurants, all of these facilities that are inside Farmers Field or the event center can also serve to handle expanded and additional uses for the convention center when it has a big citywide convention that needs more meeting or reception hospitality space. So we will be able to use close to about 280,000 square feet of area, of usable area inside Farmers Field for that purpose.
And that coordination goes on almost daily in terms of creating that open discussion.
A couple of things I want you to just answer as you go through this. I know we're almost set. Is just answer for me. I think I understand that the roof will also accommodate conventions.
Correct.
Correct.
Okay. And that there will be meeting rooms at the event center that can also be used for convention center business. So there's that cross-pollination.
That's correct.
And that these rooms at the event center will be fully equipped to host meetings too.
That's right.
And, the other thing I want you to think about, and I don't know if this will happen, but just throw this into your thinking, that these rooms, I guess, should be designed also to accommodate filming.
Yes.
Okay?
We've been made aware of that by the CLA staff, that
and
there's a lot of
also
filming
for-
that takes place
for
at the
Farmers
convention center.
Field.
Yep.
Yeah. And then I'd like to see the different access points into the center, and whether or not you integrate the whatever, what do you call it, Pico Center, or whatever, convention center, the new convention center, is that to be used as an access point too, and the coordination between the two. So do you think you're ready to roll with your PowerPoint now?
We are, yes.
Okay.
Great.
Okay.
And we'll just add, too, as you mentioned earlier, wide decks, because there is a tremendous view of downtown, a view of the Hollywood sign, a view to the west when the sunset. It would be exciting to have that outside the stadium. And will you have big advertising on the roof?
Yes, we do. Yes, we
So
do
the
have
for the
naming
clip.
rights signs on both of the fixed panels of the roof, and we'll show you a couple of images that demonstrate that in a little while. This is the view from the north, looking across Chickering Court. You'll see Staples Center to the left. This
It's offsides. You got to put the left tackle up a little bit.
A little distorted here.
No, I'm kidding you. You're going.
a little distorted. One of the most important aspects of the new design thinking on Farmers Field is to really make this a very light, open and airy facility. One problem often with these type of facility and enclosed stadium is that it's very difficult to get a sense of what activities are happening inside and relate that internal activity to the exterior experience. It's very important to be able to connect Farmers Field back to LA Live and to the Sports and Entertainment District in a meaningful and visual way. So what you're seeing here is one of the main entries into the event center, which is on the northeast corner, which connects directly back to Nokia Plaza and the rest of the LA Live district. We're really making every effort to open up those corner entries. You'll see one here at the northeast, but we have similar entries at the northwest corner and at the southwest corner as well. So really opening those views into the Farmers Field, and then when you're inside, having the ability to look back out into the district as well. What you'll also see to the north, right above the Farmers Field sign there, is a large transparent glass window, which, as you'll see in a couple of the images coming up here, really affords views back from the interior of Farmers Field to the downtown skyline, the Ritz-Carlton Hotel. Again, often with a retractable roof football stadium, it's very difficult to get a sense of where you are. You really could be in any city in the country. And we really feel that it's important here to have that connectivity of that experience of game day really tied back to being in this city and this city.
Where's the Harbor Freeway? Like,
That's correct. Yeah, the Harbor
Right
Freeway
there?
is running along the west
is
side.
this over the Harbor Freeway at all?
Yes, it is.
It does
Yes,
go
it's
over.
significant.
No, it does not.
Oh,
No, the building does not go over.
Height-wise,
Freeway.
it's significantly higher.
And then the
Ca-
question
Councilman,
is,
that's Staples Center on the left.
Yeah, I got that.
does it break apart? Where does it retract to? Or
Right
where-
now, we're looking at a couple of different options. What you're seeing here to the sides are the fixed components of the roof canopy. Those would be in place at all times. We're considering a couple of different materials. One is an ETFE fabric, which is very transparent, very great at allowing a lot of light transmission into the building, so that when it's in football mode, it really feels like a very light and airy open-air stadium. Again, as Ted mentioned, the size of the opening in between those fixed panels is significantly larger than the typical retractable roof football stadiums that you would see around the country. Again, trying to really emphasize the fact that in this climate, giving the ability to really feel as though we're in an open-air stadium experience while football or other
Fix them
soccer
and then it would
events.
stack up underneath those?
That is correct.
Okay.
One or two of the options we're looking at for the deployable roof consider actually demounting that roof and bringing that down to field and storing that at field level. Other options we're considering store the roof at the roof level, and those would retract potentially to the south or to the sides. One of the keys with any of those options is to make sure that we're really opening up the views again to the north and back to the district to really sort of have that connectivity to.
What would happen if they had the same windstorm that they had a week ago Wednesday?
This roof will be absolutely designed to deal with any of those types of loading.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Wouldn't wanna
Thankfully,
have
here
it-
we don't have to deal with the snow.
Pick it up and move it to Irwindale.
One or two of the other very important aspects that you'll see in this view is that we're really trying to, again, open up a lot of transparency and activity at the ground plane. It's very important within the context and within the district to really have a lot of street activity, a lot of connectivity out to the district, putting activities such as team stores, retail, restaurants down at street level. This is the view from Nokia Plaza looking down Chickering Court. The intent is that, similar for many Staples Center events, that Chickering Court would be temporarily closed on an event day, and this would really become a processional entry into Farmers Field, and again, that open corner, main entry on the northeast corner. What you'll see up above the Farmers Field signs are a number of outdoor decks, number of concourse spaces and club spaces that open up on the exterior.
which provide outdoor spaces that could be used both in game day and for convention mode that would have great views back to the skyline
Do you
of
have
the
a
city.
rendering of that, of the outdoor spaces?
Yes, you can see on the left there,
Okay.
one of the upper concourses is a general concourse space, and then down below.
Blue lights are?
Yes, unfortunately, I don't have a PowerPoint,
On
but
my thing?
Put your glasses on.
There you go.
Your pointer
Yeah.
broke?
I had this right there. That's pretty good, huh? Put a seam here and a seam here, right up the middle, we score. Who said that? Anybody remember that? Who said that? Seam here and a seam here, right up the middle.
John, okay.
No.
So
Vince
outdoor
Lombardi.
decks-
Vince Lombardi. Come on now.
Shame on us.
Outdoor decks right here and spanning right across the openings. Similar ones over to the west. And then a couple of the club lounges, the large spaces that would also be used for convention center events, also have large terraces that would have the view back to the skyline. Very similar to the deck on the north side of Staples Center that exists right
Yeah,
now.
I think it's also important to point out that the field level is actually about 40 feet below ground, so that as you enter the main concourse, you're looking down into the stadium field, which we think is a far better fan experience, not unlike what we did at the Home Depot Center at Cal State Dominguez Hills. And as a result of that, the entire profile of the building is much, much lower than it would have ordinarily been. And what we call the saddlebags, or those building edges around Staples Center, we're trying to mirror the height of those elements with the Farmers Field terraces and concourses that are outside. So again, it keeps the scale of this building in keeping with Staples Center, the convention center.
Do you have any other renderings in there?
Yes.
Is that it? Okay, good, let's see those.
This is the interior view, as Ted just mentioned. This point here is really at grade. So this is where people are entering the building, at the top of the lower seating bowl, in the corners. And as soon as you walk into Farmers Field, you would have the view into the building.
So this would be looking north.
Okay, looking.
Yep, back towards
That's
the
the
hotel.
Ritz-Carlton.
Yeah,
Ritz-Carlton Tower, and then the downtown skyline in the background. So again, as we mentioned, really trying to keep the seating in the north end low and to a minimum, so we can really afford those views back to the city and the skyline, and really give that sense of place and of belonging.
So then the seating on the north and the south is one deck higher, one level higher, right?
Yeah, the seats on the sidelines on the west and the east are one deck higher than they would be in the north.
And those are the more desirable sightlines for watching football, soccer, most spectator events.
On the sidelines as well, we have 2 levels of suites down low here and a 3rd level up here. And then we have club lounges, very large spaces, about 25 to 30,000 square feet of lounge space on either side of the field, here, and then up on the decks here. All of those spaces are considered great spaces that could be used to have other functions, meetings, pre-function events for the convention center as well. Those connect directly in with the levels of the convention center as well.
Okay, so there goes the design connection, the nexus between the convention center and that you flow right into there.
Exactly,
Okay,
yes.
Mr. Levant?
Yeah, 2 things. I hope you put some thought into if and when Los Angeles gets the Olympics a game, what events could be held here. I know there's not going to be a track and field here. Want to preserve that for the Memorial Coliseum. But I hope you put that in your thinking. And also, when you were mentioning about the concessions in the walkway, could you check with Canton, Ohio, see if they would want to have a Hall of Fame West satellite? Maybe, maybe not. And if not, have a Los Angeles, because so many Rams, Raiders, and others have been great athletes, deserve that recognition, as you've done such a wonderful job at the Grammy Museum.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Okay.
As you see with the roof elements, these are the 2 fixed roof elements. These contain all of the stadium lighting, all of the sound system as well. One of the real benefits of having small fixed roof canopies is that really helps contain a lot of the noise, helps contain a lot of the field lighting, so we really sort of managed to reduce a lot of that spill, even if the roof itself is
Have you
open.
begun to do any studies on the light analysis?
Yes, we are doing currently
Yes.
for the EIR process,
Right.
yes.
And I'm not sure what the proper terms, I don't know if that's ambient lighting.
Glare, yeah.
Okay, yeah. And then that's something that, well, we need to talk about that too.
That's something that we're taking into account throughout the
And
process.
the impact, I guess the radius of impact the lighting may have too.
Yeah, interestingly, one of the more significant local receptors is the Ritz-Carlton residences from 27 up. So as you can see, they're looking right down into the stadium.
Madam Chair, we're doing a little dedication out of Barnesdale Park at 9:30. I have to leave. Also think of the neighborhood to the west, not just the big tower, and the impacts in Pico Union and all of that. Everybody have a good holiday. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Your pointer.
Oh, and don't forget the convention center, commission, and their staff, all consideration.
Yes.
Okay.
The view that you're seeing here shows the roof in its open configuration and also demonstrates where the rooftop naming rights signage would be located. We have the large rooftop naming rights sign here. That is replicated on the other fixed roof panel as well.
Should point out some of the public spaces.
Again, this is Chick-Hearn Court leading to one of the major entry points. We're now developing a space, a public space in between Staples Center and Farmers Field, really trying to create another public space that would serve as an entry space and an event space pre-game and post-game. In addition to that, as a significant part of the development of the Convention Center project, the redevelopment of Gilbert Lindsay Plaza is a significant public space, whether it be on game day or a convention event or for other public and civic events.
And one thing I just want you to remember, and I'll tell you this again, there's a piece of public art out there.
Yes.
And,
Yep.
you know, we have to leave that untouched, so.
We definitely will take care of that.
Mr. Rosendahl has joined us. He's making shadow puppets. Thank you. All right. Okay, good. We're happy. Very good. All right, so what else do you have?
Well, the deployable roof.
And then in this view, what you're seeing is the deployable roof in place. And as Tim and Charlie mentioned, we're looking at a number of different options for how that roof is deployed, whether that's brought up from the field or stored within the roof structure itself. The intent, again, is that that is a fabric roof, so even when the roof is in place, that will have a significant amount of light transmittance, so that the interior still can feel light and airy even if that roof element is closed. This will be a watertight roof, so completely designed to allow for any convention event or other sporting events such as a Final Four tournament that would require.
It's not a, I don't know, it's an unusual question, but I just want to ask, just in terms of thinking ahead. If we had an emergency in the city, how many people can fit on the field?
The field is approximately 130 to 140,000 square feet. So given those ratios, typically in a concert setup, we could get 10,000 people on the floor. For a shelter consideration, that would be a significantly lower number, but we would still be sort of talking in the 4,000 to 5,000 people that could fit on that floor in an emergency situation. Okay. And then with other
plus all the other concourses and
concourses,
other facilities.
Clubs as well.
Just out of curiosity.
Yep.
Okay. Let's see. What else do you have?
And just a couple of other views showing different lighting conditions on that north view that we already looked at. And again, obviously, for nighttime games, the lighting of the building is going to be significantly important. And again, really trying to emphasize the transparency, the lightness of the building, really make sure that this building doesn't feel too heavy or overwhelming for the rest of the district. And those are the views that we have to date.
Okay, great. And then tell me one quick thing. How are you coordinating your work on Farmers Field with the Convention Center design team?
Yeah, we have been holding regular meetings with Priya Bassi and his team, as well as Bureau of Engineering, and have, we think, pretty much come to accord over the various programmatic elements that are part of the new hall and what that project consists of. We're shooting to really get that final agreement in place within the next few days, weeks at most, and then move on into the hard schematic design effort for what we're calling the new or the replacement hall.
And Mr. Rosendahl is here. And we don't have any cards for a request to speak. And just so folks know, this is not an action item where we're taking a vote today. This is merely a briefing so that we can keep the public informed and do this on the record. So, Mr. Rosendahl, if you have any questions, I've asked all of my questions. So,
sure. First of all, it looks stunning. It's quite exciting. I mean,
Thank you.
It's unique and special. I don't know if Ms. Perry asked these questions or not, but what would be the capacity for booths and exhibits for non-sporting events when it's used as part of the convention center?
Well, as Jonathan just indicated, there's about 130,000 square feet of field-level space that could be used when covered for exhibitions, large assemblies, trade shows, consumer shows that want that covered space.
Sure. Would it be easy to cover it, or is it a big deal to cover it, or how would it work?
Probably a day and a half operation.
Yeah, right now, again, we're investigating a number of opportunities on how best to achieve that coverage. And so those studies will be moving forward, but it's intended to be a relatively easy undertaking to allow for that roof to be deployed.
Then you can visualize someone going from the convention center into that facility and then going from that covered and closed into the Pico Hall. Would it be like one big?
Those ties are being coordinated between the two buildings so that the levels are adjacent and will allow for free flow between the two buildings.
And so the stands where people are in for sporting events obviously stay. They're permanent.
That's correct.
But the base ground where there would be a sporting event would be turned into a...
There are actually portions of the stands that will be retractable. Because right now, under the playing field condition, you would have just over 100,000 square feet. So there is some stands that would move. I think we can get to the image here. That east and north seating sections would have a number of rows that would be retractable. So they would push back and create a larger floor space for convention or other usage.
In addition to that, all of that field is accessed directly from the large loading docks that will be provided on the event level to provide easy service and access for setup for a convention event on the field.
When we talk about LA being the 15th largest one now, and by creating Pico Hall, we would be the 5th
That's correct.
in capacity. Does that capacity include this, or is this in addition to?
No, it does include this.
It does include this.
We're adding about 280,000 square feet of usable area within Farmers Field and the Event Center that can also service LA Convention Center needs, and that includes meeting rooms, concourses that can handle receptions and hospitality, as well as the large event center field itself.
From a timetable standpoint, dream on, everything going nicely and all, when would you see this completed?
We're still focused on the season for 2016, correct.
And do you have a sense of what it would cost, the entire project, when it's up and running and everything?
I think we're looking at about $1.4 billion.
1.4 billion.
Correct.
But that includes just this facility, not the Pico or the connection?
No, that's Farmers Field. That's the new hall, and that's the 2 new parking garages that are associated with the project.
Okay, the 1.4 billion in 2016. What are the obstacles or issues or challenges you see right now in getting to this point?
Well, we are wholly focused as a team right now on getting our draft environmental impact report circulating early next year. Looks like either late January, early February, that we hope to have that in draft form for the public review and for agency review. We have been working very closely, and in fact, we're sharing some of those early screen check documents now with planning staff, with LA DOT, with other transportation agencies. So this is an extremely complex and comprehensive EIR document, and we're taking our time to do it right.
Now, when does the trigger have to be pulled to move forward? First, from my perspective, of course, and Ms. Perry's, we have this MOU, getting we got a team. Show me. We got a 30-year relationship.
Right.
How close is timing with this with you?
Well, in terms of the sequence of events, the idea is to get the EIR draft circulated, have the public comment period, respond to those comments, complete the EIR, but in tandem also working with the CLA and CAO to be negotiating all of the other documents, the ground leases, the development agreements, the easements. There's quite a complicated series of documents that are in need of being developed in parallel, so that by mid to late summer, we are bringing all this together for final city council approval and action.
And the role of the state and some of those issues up there, do they play into this?
They do, with regard to our environmental impact report and our obligations to comply with this new AB 292 bill with regard to being best in nation, carbon neutral. And we won't get into all those details. I'm probably not the right person to do so, but we've raised the bar, I think, in terms of...
What LEED status do you hope to achieve?
We are looking for a LEED Gold for the new hall, and that's consistent with the convention center's current programming. We're looking for a LEED certification for Farmers Field. We'll see how that goes in terms of whether we can do any better, but that's our target for now.
Well, the cost of what you're doing right now, obviously AEG is absorbing it, correct? Do we have a sense of what kind of a budget you got to do all this?
It's tens of millions of dollars that we're investing, both in terms of design, EIR work, and consultants. It's a very significant at-risk investment.
And who are you? I'm just not...
I'm sorry, I'm Ted Tanner.
Okay.
We have met. I was at your community hearing. I'm Executive Vice President for Real Estate for AEG.
And the two gentlemen with you?
This is Charlie Thornton with Icon Venue Group. This is our program and project manager. And Jonathan Emmett with Gensler, who are the architects for Farmers Field.
And you became the architect through a competitive process? Or
Yes, that's correct. Yes. That was concluded about a year ago. We went through a competitive process after being shortlisted. We're fortunate enough to receive the commission from AEG and Icon, and have been working primarily on the EIR in support of Icon and AEG since that time.
Okay, and the last thing, back to a comment you made earlier, public comment, time frame, process, outreach. Tell me how you're going to do that.
Well, that's really in conjunction with the circulation of the draft EIR, which really begins in earnest, as I said, late January, February, probably well into March, where there'll be a series of community meetings, hearings, and open conversations and responses to public comment.
Well, just a comment from me right now is I'm very excited about what you have.
As are we.
It
Thank you.
looks terrific.
Thank you very much.
It'd be quite a credit to our great city. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Rosendahl. Two more quick questions. And Ted, you may not be the right person to ask. I see Mr. Hill is here. I'm going to ask that we have a separate briefing in some of our subsequent meetings on the design of the convention center itself, and to get a status on that. And for you, Ted, the upper deck of the Farmers Field looks to be suitable for, obviously, programming for all kinds of events, and I suspect that you've answered this earlier, but I'll ask it again, that it would be available for convention center programming too. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, one of the big pieces of business at the convention center right now is for large public assemblies, and often that's done at the expense of using some of the big exhibit halls and seating them in a flat floor configuration. Here we have a perfectly established large assembly area, much bigger than Staples Center even, that can handle those large public assembly type meetings.
So we've got a lot to talk about over the upcoming year. Obviously, I may even want to do this on a Saturday where we have a charrette just on traffic movement circulation alone. There are some folks here in the front row, Diane Salee and some of her members from MBOC, who I'd like to talk about procurement opportunities for women and minority-owned businesses to interact, and the process for that, and let's have a public conversation about that. And then obviously there's the technical issues that will arise as we go through the EIR process, and I'd like to get I guess a calendar or a schedule of places and locations where you'll be doing your outreach throughout the city, so that we can make sure to not only help publicize that, to really rally people so that they can be engaged and be involved in the discussion about the future of this project. And I think, is there anything else you want to
Just one more about transportation, which for me and for all of us, obviously, is a significant report about how do we deal with the mitigated. I mean, the one thing I know historically, 2016, hopefully Measure R, which is accelerating itself, will bring more mass transit to downtown and connect it to other parts of the city and the county. Are you working with the DOT and the MTA both on this, and how are you, and how does that fit in?
Yeah, we, and I participate in weekly meetings with LA DOT staff. Matter of fact, we're going there after this meeting for a complete review of our mitigation strategy with them and hopefully get their buy-in. We're also coordinating very closely with Metro. Our goal is to make this the most transit-friendly stadium in the country, and we're very focused on that, and we hope that most of our efforts are really to induce people out of their cars and into mass transit systems, for which we have, we think, a great case to make with both the 7th and Metro red and purple lines system, which is just 3 blocks to the north, and the Pico Flower Station, which is literally a block east of our stadium.
Right. I'm excited about the prospect of you widening that platform and
Correct.
giving it greater capacity,
Yes.
and creating a good experience that connects folks from the platform to the campus. And the most exciting thing is the Expo line, which will
Yep.
be operating ahead of you, that we can work together to be able to make those west side to east side and back connections, so that we can help people who are coming 10 east from the 405 south and north to choose to take the Expo line instead. So you're going to be able to help us be a part of that larger strategy.
Absolutely, and we know we have to incentivize and induce people with ticket bundling and other measures to get people to use transit, and that's our goal. We're also working with Metrolink on the concept of running special trains from areas that are not as well served, let's say for regular light rail or heavy rail service. So we're looking at all the options.
That's very exciting. So we'll present a meeting schedule.
We'd be happy to come back and
Absolutely.
focus on
Thank
that.
you. So I don't have any cards. Everybody's pretty quiet this morning.
Just want to know who they all are.
They're all
Stand up,
quiet.
tell us.
All right, everybody get your business cards out. This is we're not taking an action on this item. This was an informational briefing only. So this marks the end of our agenda. If there's anybody here who wishes to speak on an item that is not on the agenda, this would be the public comment period, and you're free to come forward at this time and speak on an item that is not on the agenda. No one's coming forward, so we're going to adjourn the meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you all very much.